now at 6, bracing for the storm.
So, yeah, we're concerned.
How people and the power company are getting ready for whipping winds and downpours right before Christmas.
We have 1 or 2 storms like this every couple of years or so.
Plus, the lights are finally back on, but some San Franciscans are still feeling the impact of the blackout.
So beyond the pale and so unacceptable.
The new push for the city to break up with PG&E and create its own grid. And later, 1 year since part of the Santa Cruz Wharf collapsed into the water.
We never really fully recovered from it.
We're tracking the progress to rebuild and the toll it's taking on the mom and pop shops along the wharf.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us at 6. We are in first alert weather mode as the next round of rain begins to move across the Bay Area. This whole week, we're in the path of a series of systems expected to bring the moisture and strong winds that could send trees toppling around the region. And this is all happening just as we're hitting the peak of the Christmas travel window. So let's get right to meteorologist Darren Peck with where things stand now. Right in that travel window, Darren.
You know, and it's going to be problematic on a couple of, well, first of all, tomorrow morning is going to be rough.
Okay.
And then Thursday morning in particular, Christmas morning could be particularly rough. Let me go in order here because you just experienced a Tuesday that was pretty uneventful. Not a lot happened today. The last 3 hours of radar shows us the showers are starting to return, but this isn't much. Keep your eye out this way with me. I'm going to change the vantage point. We're going to go to the wide view. You'll see that the radar's still on here, but instead what we're looking at is the broader view of this storm. And I'm now going to put on the forecast imagery, and you're going to see why tomorrow morning is so different. This is coming our way in the overnight hours. This is the cold front. Totally different than even the rain you've got out there now. You can see well-organized lines of rain on here. See that line of red? This is tomorrow at 1 a.m. There's another one of those lines up here. Connect the dots. That's where you can pick out the cold front. Look at that. Follow that all the way out into the Pacific. You can see there's a well-organized line that is just about to sweep across the bay. Two things go along with a line like that. Obviously, rain. So the rainfall intensity is going to pick up when that line comes through, but that is also when the strongest of the winds come through. Look where we'll be when we visualize that. Purple is 50-mile-an-hour gusts. And as we let this advance into the overnight hours, we're looking at a lot of that right off the coast. Midnight, 1 a.m., 40 to 50-mile-an-hour gusts in general. We don't all feel that, but even if you're not at the coast, 30 to 40-mile-an-hour gusts will be possible tonight, midnight through about 3 a.m., and then it will start to get better. We're going to go into all the detail here. I'll show you what the storm looks like in terms of timing out the rain. The next band of wind that's going to come through, there's another one. We've got to talk about that. Remember Christmas morning. It's not just tomorrow. It's also Christmas Day morning. See you with the whole forecast in just a few minutes. For now, Juliette, back to you.
All right. See you soon, Darren. Thank you. And we are keeping a close eye on travel conditions with Christmas just 2 days away. The roads are a little slick tonight, but even before the worst of these major storms, there are disruptions at SFO. So according to Flight Aware, nearly 30% of all flights out and half of all flights into SFO have been delayed tonight. More than 24 flights have been canceled. Meantime, the threat of strong winds only amplifies the potential for power outages, and you can bet PG&E is on high alert big time for any damage across the region. So our Kenny Choi joining us live now from Vacaville with an inside look at how the utility is preparing. Hey, Kenny.
Julia, good evening. Really light conditions right now. It's hardly drizzling, but with a forecast for heavier rains and strong winds in the next coming days, we want to take a look inside PG&E's Emergency Operations Center. Take a look. PG&E has activated its Emergency Operations Center, as well as regional and local storm rooms for a weather event like this.
If you look at satellite imagery, you can see a very strong low pressure system.
It's here in Vacaville where Central Command monitors real-time grid conditions and outage data across PG&E's service territory, including the Bay Area. Rihan Gangat is a senior meteorologist for PG&E.
We have 1 or 2 storms like this every couple of years or so. Producing this potential type of outage. This one is a little bit more unique because we have 2 weather systems coming in over the next couple of days.
PG&E says wind is the main concern that can lead to outages, indicated by color lights on this screen.
Looks like there might be an outage up here near Eureka.
where the weather's going through right now. And so once weather goes through, you can almost kind of like Christmas lights. You see the weather come through, and then all of a sudden you start seeing a lot more outages pop up on the screen.
The EOC will be a 24-hour-a-day operation over the next few days, coordinating crews and resources across the Bay Area and beyond. Denny Boyle is a PG&E spokesperson.
This one potentially has impacts across the whole service territory. So then our question is, do we have the crew capacity to respond, or do we need to ask for help? And when we get to that point, we have processes for that.
More than 5,500 PG&E workers and contractors will be on storm duty, including more than 1,500 gas and electric crew personnel. They'll be ready to repair damaged power lines, cap gas leaks, or any other issues that arise. They're pre-positioning additional crews where storm impact is expected to be most severe.
Both the crews in the field and the crew here are all going to be here through Christmas. We'll be away from our families, but we're going to be doing what we need to do to get the power back on for our communities.
So they'll be taking a very close look at this outage map. Company officials are warning customers, though, to be prepared for outages, expected outages with these strong storms and these winds ahead. Juliet?
Yeah, no doubt. At least the Christmas lights are on behind you right now. So far, so good. Very pretty backdrop.
They're looking good.
All right, Kenny, thank you. Well, with the rain and heavy winds expected to hit the whole region, people in Berkeley spent the day doing their best to prepare their homes for the storm. PG&E crews have been clearing vegetation near electric lines in hopes of preventing damage and outages. Homeowners have also been removing debris, and that could clog drains. They say they are not taking any chances.
I have a gas generator, to make sure if the power goes out that I'm able to keep my pump and my electricity in my home running.
Water can be a real pain. It'll find its way into everything. So yeah, we're concerned, but if you take some precautions, let the water do what it needs to do.
No kidding, water damage is no fun. PG&E's meteorologist predicting between 4 to 10 inches of rain along parts of the North Coast, and say they have crews on standby in case of emergency. And if you want the latest on this week's stormy weather and the forecast in your neighborhood, stay with us on the air, on the free CBS News app, and on our website, kpix.com. All right, let's turn to San Francisco now. We're taking a live look at City Hall, shining bright tonight. But the neighborhood around it was one of the last areas to get power back on after days in the dark. Most people's electricity restored by yesterday. PG&E customers near Civic Center had to wait until this morning. So this is what PG&E's online outage map looked like this afternoon. Take a look at that. You can see it's mostly clean right there. Just a few green spots indicating fewer than 50 customers without power. Not bad. Now, this is a huge improvement, though, from Saturday. We've got that map for comparison. So look at that. You can see there were massive swaths of red and orange, each representing between 500 and 5,000 customers without power. So while the lights are finally back on, many in San Francisco are still dealing with the fallout from the outage. Many people went days without showers, food rotted in fridges, and some visitors had to pivot their holiday plans. One family from Chicago was forced to stay in a hotel because their son's Soma District apartment lost power. They said the stress from these past few days ruined their Christmas dinner and nearly ruined the holiday.
Absolutely, it ruined because we have, actually, they are supposed to host 12 guests by the Christmas time. However, since they don't have electricity, food is spoiled.
Now, local leaders are working to take power away from PG&E. State Senator Scott Wiener is calling for San Francisco to cut ties with the utility company.
What happened this weekend was so beyond the pale and so unacceptable. It is hard for San Francisco to break up with PG&E, but it's not impossible.
Wiener said he plans on introducing legislation that would start the process in which PG&E could be replaced by the city or the state. All right, Muni also got back on track this morning. The final rail lines were up and running again by 8:15. So look at this. This is video from a little after 6 a.m. when the Van Ness station was still closed. SFMTA said to plan for some lingering delays as this system gets back to its regular schedule. PG&E did announce that customers who were impacted will get automatic bill credits for the outage. Remember that. Residential customers will get $200 in credits automatically applied to their account. Businesses will get $2,500. PG&E says you don't have to file a claim, but you can pursue a separate claim process for extended outages. All right, still ahead right here at 6. The recovery is slow for businesses on the Santa Cruz Wharf. We're following the rebuilding efforts 1 year after part of it collapsed.
I think a lot of people were afraid to come out here. I feel like, people were unsure like how safe the wharf was.
Plus, it's not just rain and wind. We'll take you to areas scorched by the Eaton and Palisades fires, where these storms are also bringing the threat of major mudslides. We have yet to see major impacts from this week's weather, but in Santa Cruz, they're still dealing with the aftermath from when one part of the wharf collapsed into the water 1 year ago today. An entire restroom, construction vehicles, even 3 workers had to be rescued, all floating with the debris. And here we are, 1 year later, the rebuilding is well underway, but Scott Rates takes us inside the historic candy shop where the recovery has been slow.
From the beautiful waters of the Monterey Bay to the iconic sounds of the sea lions barking away, you might say that the sights and sounds of the Santa Cruz Wharf are somewhat nostalgic.
It's just a family tradition. This is always a stop.
One of those memorable shops? Marini's Candies. It's been a Santa Cruz staple for 110 years.
Oh no, it fell on me. We started out on the boardwalk in 1915. We moved out here to the wharf in 1984.
Gino Marini owns the store. He says that business hasn't been very sweet since the partial collapse of the wharf 1 year ago.
I think a lot of people were afraid to come out here. I feel like people were unsure like how safe the wharf was. Usually that money that we get from the Christmas break, we didn't have that this year. And so usually that stuff propels us into the slower months.
Oh my God.
Back on December 23rd last year, wicked waves crashed into the pillars of the wharf. Those waves sending 150 feet up the wharf and 2 workers into the bay. The workers could be seen here standing atop a flotilla of debris.
We never really fully recovered from it.
And some shops struggling even more. Next to Marini's, the doors to Made in Santa Cruz are locked. The owners recently announcing that after 30 years on the wharf, they are closing the brick and mortar business, moving to an online-only model.
They're really going to be missed out here.
Meanwhile, repairs to the damaged wharf are still underway. Mike Gotzi is with Santa Cruz Parks and Rec.
We were able to confidently say that the wharf was sound and strong, and we were able to get businesses back open just really 11 days after the incident.
Mike says they're making good progress on the repairs, but could the rough weather on the way pose a new issue?
We have plans in place for that. With contingencies in place, we're still well on schedule for the construction project we have going on now.
Gotzi adding that as storms approach, the safety of the construction crews is paramount.
We're going to work with those construction workers and those contractors and shut the jobs down for the day.
This holiday season, rain or shine, Gino has this plea.
Please continue to come out to the wharf and support all these businesses. People out here and their families really need it.
Gino hoping this was just a bump in the road and that business will pick back up so that he can continue to stock these shelves for many years to come.
Yeah, let's hope. We're told the construction on the wharf is expected to be done by the middle of March. All right, to Los Angeles now. Preparations are underway for the atmospheric river barreling toward the burn scar areas of the destructive Eaton and Palisades fires in Altadena. Sheriff's deputies, they went door to door alerting neighbors of an evacuation order ahead of this storm. Meanwhile, in Malibu, people are working around the clock to make sure their homes are ready for incoming rain and possible mudslides. Public Works officials say they've already distributed more than 1,000 sandbags, and they plan to give out 800 more. And to Redding, the cleanup is just getting underway after heavy rain led to flooding on roads and in homes and businesses. One person died on Sunday while trying to drive through floodwaters on a highway. The water receded on Monday, but the area is still under a flood watch as more storms move on through. Animal rights activist and UC Berkeley student Zoe Rosenberg is set to be released from jail tomorrow, just weeks after she was sentenced. So Rosenberg was convicted of felony, conspiracy, and trespassing for taking 4 chickens from a Purdue Farms poultry plant in Sonoma County. She was originally sentenced to 90 days with the possibility final 60 possibly involving jail alternatives. Today, the sheriff's office said her mandated jail time has been cut in half for good behavior, and she'll spend the rest of her sentence on house arrest. All right, coming up, how ski resorts are already taking full advantage of the fresh snow they've been so desperately needing for business. Snowfall has made for ideal conditions at Palisades Tahoe. The resort has received about a foot of snow in the upper mountain over the past 3 days, and forecasts predict up to 4 feet of snow to fall in the area by Sunday. So crews are working now to prepare the mountain for visitors this weekend and hope to have several locations open by Saturday. The person to know all this, though, is meteorologist Darren Peck to fill us in. Hey, Darren.
We're going to do better than that, Juliet, in terms of what you just showed us they have. This storm, this series of storms, really hasn't delivered its best yet. It hasn't delivered the snow yet. It hasn't given us our most intense rain yet. And it certainly hasn't given us the most intense wind. All of those things are still to come. Look what's sitting out here off the coast. Here we are. We've been living under the kind of like the gentle, consistent rain. We've gotten several inches of rain out of this so far across the bay. But there's so much out here still wrapped up in these spinning little lows. 2 separate storms. I want to get a closer look at this and get specific. Let's put it into the forecast monitor and hopefully give you a little bit of perspective on why we're not done with this till Friday. And there are 2 different waves. If you look at how the storm is set up out here now, we were just looking at this on the virtual map. This is the one we've got tonight. That's an entirely separate storm, which is going to make Christmas Day impressive from a heavy rainfall standpoint and wind. More on that one. Doesn't look like much, but more on that one coming up in a second. First of all, we put it into the futurecast. Here's tonight's front. We'll watch that rain again coming up, but here's the heavy rain that comes in with the wind tonight. Then on Wednesday, you're going to get a break. We're in an open for most of the day tomorrow. You'll think, well, we're done. It's just a brief little break because then we're going to get this wave of rain going into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. And then on Thursday morning for Christmas, that's our Christmas Day storm right there. And that one then comes on Thursday, and it takes until Friday for the whole thing to rotate through. Let's go in order. Here's tonight. Scattered showers out there now, not much. Here's where the rain gets better, right there. That's tonight. As we get towards midnight, this is the front. This is the first line that's going to move through. This is going to be between midnight and like 3 a.m. Some of the heavier rain. You can see some of these cells coming in here with these deep bullseyes on here. We could get some isolated thunderstorms with this tonight. So it'll be a bit active overnight and into early tomorrow morning. The wind will also be a factor. We looked at the wind at the top of the newscast. If you missed that, stick around for the 7 o'clock newscast. I'll show you the wind speeds. They might be the most impactful part of all of this, and they'll be coming through right about now, that time frame, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 40 to 50 mile-an-hour gusts along the coast. But while that wind is happening, we're also getting our isolated showers. Okay, then the sun comes up on Wednesday, and you get a break. There's that open on Wednesday. Make the most of it. Because look what shows up by the time we get into Wednesday night and Thursday. Let's back that up a second and bring it back on. So here's the Wednesday night surge of rain. We get some rain Wednesday going into the afternoon, late afternoon and early evening, but that's not the main event. This one is. That's the Thursday morning storm. So this is very early on Christmas Day. We get this line of rain, some heavier downpours, maybe some thunderstorms in there, and another round of wind that will come in with this, maybe 40 mile-an-hour gusts. This is all very early Christmas Day. But the thing about this one is it wants to stick around throughout the rest of the day. Plenty of breaks in here. There's going to be many moments on Thursday and Christmas Day when you are not getting rained on. But there will always be the possibility for one of these lines to come through. And these look pretty intense in terms of localized intensity. Look at some of these color schemes on here. This is where you're getting into the possibility for isolated thunderstorms, again, brief downpours, and that's what is going to characterize a good part of early Thursday. You'll see blue sky, but then you'll also get an isolated thunderstorm that comes through. And when we look at this on the long-range forecast, it sticks around, but it'll become more scattered in nature. Last little wave comes through on Friday, and then we're done. Got to get all the way through Friday before that happens. So there's still a lot coming our way. In the 7-day forecast, we take a look at this. We got 4 first alert days on here today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we'll be done. And it does look like we will get a well-deserved break as we head into this coming weekend. All right, Juliet, back to you.
All right, thanks. When we come back, clothes, toys, and power tools stolen and resold at flea markets across the Bay Area. How investigators busted up the retail theft ring and recovered $800,000 worth of goods. Also, here's a look at what's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
Tonight, all aboard. Lights, music, and holiday magic on the move. A Christmas train bringing joy from stop to stop. That's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
Start your day with us and open your world.
Time to open up those windows and get this day started.
The power of CBS News.
It is a historic day in news.
Taking you around the globe, across the country.
With Federal, live, and
into your community.
To the South Bay, major changes.
And Bay Area weather from a whole new perspective.
Let's head underneath this cloud layer.
CBS News Bay Area's Morning Edition. Weekdays at 6 on KPIX.
A months-long retail theft investigation led to more than a dozen arrests in the Bay Area and more than $800,000 worth of stolen goods recovered. So the CHP says the suspects were buying stolen goods and reselling them at flea markets across Northern California. So take a look at this. The CHP Joint Task Force seized 9 vehicles and more than 600 boxes and bags filled with everything from clothing, alcohol, and power tools to toys and diapers. The bust happened earlier this month in Oakland, Richmond, San Leandro, and Galt, which is north of Lodi. 13 people were arrested. 2 of them are from El Sobrante. The rest live in Oakland. So how did they track them down? Well, the CHP says it all started after a traffic stop involving 2 shoplifting suspects in Placer County. Those suspects then told investigators they were selling the stolen goods to the Bay Area crew. All right, finally tonight, our Food for Bay Area Families initiative is still rolling on this holiday season. If you want to support local food banks with your money or your time, just scan the QR code on your screen right now or head to kpix.com/give. Also, be sure to join us for our holiday special, Stories of Hope, airing Christmas night at 7 p.m. right here on KPIX. You can see the inspiring stories behind the effort to feed families across the Bay Area. CBS Evening News is next. Local news continues on our streaming service, and we have more news, local news just for you at 7 o'clock. So we'll be right back here in 30 minutes. See you then.